Cook County Hospital, West Side, Chicago. The emergency ward. It's Saturday night. Any Saturday night.
For some reason, this so-called police officer states that he was making obscene advances toward his wife. You know, the young lady with the little, the little black and little blue thing here. Anyway, for no reason at all, this cop hits him in the head with a gun. Man, that's police brutality, man. Man, this is what we talking about now. Police brutality. One might have slick, natural, bearded face and anything. This is what we talking about now. Police brutality.
Last year, 250 gunshot victims were brought here DOA, dead on arrival. So far this year, this ward has treated nearly 1,000 cases of shootings and stabbings, victims of general violence on the streets. For this is what tomorrow's presidential election in America is about. Abroad, a hope of peace now in Vietnam has meant that at home, the issue has become law and order against the fears of anarchy. Tonight, on the eve of the election, World in Action asks if democracy in America has reached a state of emergency.
From north to south to east to west, listen and you'll hear the voice of George C. Wallace, ringing loud and clear. He's speaking to America, his words.
Cicero, an all-white suburb of Chicago, a Sunday motorcade rolls for Governor Wallace.
Stand up for America. Let's vote to keep it free. We're about to be destroyed by a great society. There's rioting and looting, and the cities are being burned. How much more will it take for Washington to learn? Take time to look around you at the problems that we face. You'll see the great society has been a great disgrace. Stand up for America. Let's vote to keep it free. The Texan is going back to his ranch. That's where
Head of the Wallace campaign here is Sonia Shepherd.
Well, I support George Wallace because first, he's a Christian man. He brings the God back to our country. And second, he's for people like us, not for those millionaires. And I know when he gets in the White House, he will stop the riots, and he brings the local government back to us, give support to the policemen, so our homes and our land and our beautiful America be beautiful as was years ago, not anymore.
Would you have a black man live next door to you?
You're putting a very hard question to me, mister. Like I say, if he is, I don't call the black, I call color, because I know there are good color people, very good, educated, and they want to stay by themselves in color neighborhood. They would not like to mix with us either. These people I respect highly. So good color man will not go push to live next to me as I not go push to him. I go stay in my background as I am white. I born white, I would like to prefer die that way.
Cicero, April 1966. Black demonstrators marched through the White Fortress to protest their right to move to better areas. 3,000 National Guardsmen protect them from the jeering whites. In 1951, a black family tried to set up home here. Their house was ransacked, their belongings burnt. Since then, no black American has lived in Cicero. It's become the emblem of a savage intolerance.
Little Cicero today is a white star on a map.
The homespun whites of Cicero feel forgotten by the politicians. Wallace makes them matter.
We're not being told this kind of stuff by nobody but Wallace. We need a big shakeup in this country. And that's the man I want to see in there because I think he can do the job. There's a lot of working men that feel the way I do. I'm not the only one. I work with these people. Fine Americanism, that's what we need. We're going off that course. That's why I'm voting for Wallace. That's only one of the reasons why I'm voting for it.
I don't believe there's enough law and order in Chicago. There's been a breakdown throughout the whole country as far as law and order is concerned. And it seems that the laws today are protecting the criminal more so than the decent citizen. The way it affects me, I'm afraid to go home. You understand? You never know what's going to happen. No matter where you go in this country today, it seems that everybody's scared, living in a state of fear.
Most of Cicero's 70,000 inhabitants are first or second generation Americans, immigrants from Europe. By the standards of the rest of white America, they're not well off. Most of them are factory workers. They're the forgotten minority who have striven hard for all they've got, who feel they bear the brunt of racial clashes, and who've lined up solidly behind the governor from Alabama.
I'm not for him myself, but I think there's a lot of support for him.
Why do you think there is so much support for Wallace? What's the reason?
The reason? Oh, well, he grabbed onto an issue, and it's a popular, people are afraid, and so, what the heck, he's getting a lot of support.
I can remember when we used to have cows and goats and chickens and everything else. This used to be nothing but prairie. The people here, at one time, they used to consider this a ghetto, whereas just about a mile and a half further east of us, there used to be ultra-fashionable society. Now that is a ghetto, and we are society here, because all our people upgrade their community. They upgrade their property, they clean, they paint their windows, they take care of everything they have. These are good people in this community. These are all type of people. These are Italians, and these are Czechs, and they're Polish, and Bohemians, and they're even the southern people that come here. They love it here because they're friendly. What goes on the other side of the track is their business. We protect our property on this side of the track.
And to what ends will you go to protect your property?
Well, we'll do it by law. We believe in law and order. Maybe they don't believe in law and order, but we believe in law and order, and we'll let the law take care of that.
We like to keep our own. I wouldn't want to live next to a nigger, the colored people, you know. But I'll tell you the truth, though. Half of them don't want to live with us either. You know, I think most of it is instigated by somebody. I don't know who. Probably the Communist Party. But as long as they stay away from me, they can do what they want. Go ahead.
For men like this, prejudice has become hysteria.
Well, I don't know. I personally think they're all animals. They should be locked up in a cage.
I don't want Negroes sitting next to my boy in school.
Why don't you want them sitting next to your boy?
I don't believe in mixing the classes. You cannot have integration without intermarriage. If you want integration, you have to accept intermarriage, and I will not accept that.
I don't want them living next door to me. I don't want my son being associated with them in any way at all. Because it is my feeling that right now, the Negro is going back to the days of the pre-Civil War. Only this time they want to be the landowner, and they're going to make the white people the cotton pickers. And that I will not stand for.
Cicero perhaps crystallizes, in a sense, all of what is good and what is bad at the same time in America. The people there are genuinely good people. They're working people, but they've been filled with all kinds of prejudices and fears, with the feeling that if the black man gets a job, he'll lose his. If the black man moves next door, he will in some way be corrupted, and that he will marry his daughter, and so on and so forth.
The other side of the track, west side, Chicago, the Negro ghetto, a sprawling slum crammed with 500,000 black people facing directly onto Cicero. Here, white people go at their own risk. Within the ghetto, the Negro has shaped his new culture of black power and direct action against injustice. Here also are the traces of his old vanishing refuge, the Revivalist Church. Law and order snapped in West Side after the murder of Martin Luther King in April. Furious Negroes burned, looted, and destroyed in their own ghetto. For black moderates, this was the turning point.
When people get, I'd say, rowdy enough to burn the house of God, I'm kind of afraid to even have anything to do with it myself.
What do you think's going to happen?
Well, my idea about it, if the white man don't treat the black man right, it's going to be a war right here. That's my belief about it. Because they've been pushed back so long until they're not going to take anymore. They're not going to take anymore.
The young Negroes of West Side face a limited future. These high school children are 3 times more likely to be unemployed than whites in Cicero. For them, tomorrow's choice is irrelevant.
Do you think the coming elections are going to do any good for you people or not?
No. We don't. Since Kennedy dropped out the race, we don't have nobody now. We got Humphrey, Nixon, we got Wallace, a so-called Wallace. See, if they get elected, what they want to do, they want to see everybody in their place. But see, now I'm going to tell you the truth, and you can take this back to any one. We've been down so far. Now we're not gonna go. Now we're not gonna go down no farther. If we go down any farther, I tell you right now, we're gonna rap what Ralph Brown said. We all gonna turn militant. If we go down, America gonna burn too. It's not gonna be no American.
Like Monday, we was in the lunchroom. We was peaceful, and then all of a sudden the police come in there and they were busting our heads, and we're not gonna just stand by and let somebody hit us over our heads and all this stuff. We have to fight back.
The police were busting your heads?
Yeah,
Tell me, did they hit you?
No, they didn't hit me. They hit a lot of my friends, the girls. They knocked her down the stairs and everything. Hit them in the stomach with rookie sticks.
Really?
Yeah, knocked them down the steps, too.
Did they do this also to white students as well?
No.
Chicago has just happened to be one of the 50 major cities in the United States that has better than 1/3 of its population black. So we are trying to organize 50 major cities within the United States based on this concept of that inward city is black man's land and we must move to take the inward city. Black people can afford to vote for Wallace, not as an individual, not as a person, but merely as an issue that need to be raised today. So all intellectual blacks, we are saying, should vote for a Wallace candidacy based on the fact that Wallace represents the true issues. Now we are saying since the masses of black people has never been completely involved in the political processes, would never understand voting for Wallace. So what we are saying is don't vote at all.
There are other things to worry about in the ghetto. The infant death rate among Negroes has risen by 1/4 in the last 10 years. It's now higher than the death rate anywhere else in America or any industrial nation. It's facts like this which have led to the cry for black power, and nowhere is the cry stronger than amongst the young and militant. In the Southside Ghetto, the most powerful organization is the Blackstone Rangers, once a street gang, now a paramilitary force. They meet regularly in a church under the leadership of 21-year-old Jeff Fort.
I say that the police, they don't love us, they don't like us, but then they have respect for us in a way that whatever they do, they just not gonna just come in and beat us. You dig? They gonna come in and kill us if they can. You dig? They just not gonna leave no, half job like beating us up because we done got to a stage that, whooping is over. I feel in time, Blackstone Rangers are gonna get things together in a way that the black peoples, then would have respect for the white peoples, but then more so the white peoples would then have respect for the black peoples. I feel that that's what mostly needed, you dig, because right along and now, the big time white, don't have no respect for the small time poor, you dig.
A recent Chicago University report found Negro houses to be 1/5 smaller, 5 times more dilapidated, and 3 times more substandard than white houses. Average rents paid, however, are exactly the same, perhaps the black man's only equality.
If anybody in the world, which means a colored man, would vote for Wallace, I would like to see him myself. I would like to be one that shoot him. That's how I feel about Wallace.
I wouldn't even want to live.
What if he became president?
That's right.
What do you think he'd do to this country?
Oh, man.
Same thing he did to Alabama.
Well, there's no telling what the guy lies to do. He wants you to go back under slavery, you know. That's where I feel.
But a little before he started campaigning for presidency, then what'd he do? Down in Alabama, everybody had a campaign march. Then what happened then? He stood in front of the door like this.
El Paso, Texas. 7,000 at a night rally for Wallace. Wallace arouses fear and hatred among white Americans as well as black. For them, he's the threat of fascism in America. To him, the hecklers demonstrate the breakdown in law and order, the division in the nation. His appeal to the ordinary folk, as he calls them, taxi drivers, machinists, small farmers, the poor working class, is gut politics. He invokes the fear of anarchy and the love of country in equal measure. In his simple terms, the intellectuals, the bureaucrats, the dissenters have brought America to its knees. He alone can now save it.
So vote with confidence. Stand up for America and elect him president. So stand up for America and elect Wallace
I don't know that I'm the most suited man, but I'm suited better than any of those running for the presidency. Let me say that. I don't say that I'm the best man in the country for the president, but I'm better suited than any of those running for the presidency. Let me say that. Because they don't represent the viewpoint of the majority of the people in this country. They've kowtowed to this group who created anarchy in our country. Every policeman knows that what I'm saying is true, that you cannot take the crime rate and the crime on the street rate are two different things. And the big cities in the north, part of the United States, you can't walk on the streets in safety, but you can in the southern part of the United States.
There's one thing here. Don't you think that this murder rate amongst black people is because they themselves don't have proper rights in this country?
Oh, I don't know. You fellas from Britain always asking questions, and you made a statement there. Don't you think it's because they don't have proper rights? They have every right that anyone else has in our country, and they're entitled to it. It's your country that won't let people of other colors come in, not ours. We have people of all colors. You live in a country where British citizens cannot come in because of color. So it's all right to ask a question about rights, but when you make a statement that it isn't because they don't have proper rights, you fellas really have a lot of gall to talk about rights when you live in Britain that won't even let Kenyan Asians come in who are citizens of Britain. So black people do have rights in this country, and they're entitled to rights. And when you say that somebody shoots somebody in a home because they don't have equal rights, when a man kills his wife because they don't have equal rights, well, that's about as silly a statement as I've ever heard.
Wallace has made the race to the White House come alive. Faced with the old traditional one or the other vote between Nixon and Humphrey, many Americans have found in the third candidate a vitality and a dangerous glamour. He himself lists his relaxations as campaigning.
Hi, sweeties. You're all mighty kind. You're mighty kind, and you're the champion, too, aren't you? Well, you're mighty pretty, and you're mighty pretty.
That we are a nation of free enterprise. We have our pride. We have let our friends down, and with George Wallace, we are going to stand up tall and straight and be a proud nation once again, and it's the free enterprise system. It's going to come back to life.
Governor. Thank you for being here, sir.
I've come 140 miles to see you and shake your hand. I'm a constant contributor to your campaign, and I hope to God you get to be president.
Thank you, sir. You're mighty kind. Who is this?
My name is Wilbur C. Perkins, and I'm known as the old vet all over the world.
Yes, sir, Mr. Perkins. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Thank you, sir.
I like just a common, ordinary man. I'm tired of bureaucracy. I'm tired of someone that'll let somebody else tell them what to do. We need a little bit of temper in Washington. Someone who gets a little tired of being pushed around, a little tired
of taking things for granted. And perhaps this man, with his little bit of fiery temper, will get our Pueblo ship back to the United States.
America needs Wallace. So
And we Texans and Alabamians told people throughout the country what was going to happen. And today, if you walk away from this park as a result of decisions of the Supreme Court and somebody knocks you in the head, you know what happens? They out of jail on a $25 bond before you get in the hospital, and on Monday they'll try a policeman about it. He'll wind up getting in trouble about it. Well, I want to say this. You folks in Fort Worth had better be thankful for the police and firemen. If it were not for them, you couldn't ride in the streets, much less walk in the streets. And I know you are proud of the police department. And one of the first things I'm going to say as the President of the United States, I give my support to the policemen and firemen in Fort Worth and in Texas and in this country, and enforce the law and make it safe on the streets.
I mean, we don't know when we're going to run into an emotionally unstable or unbalanced person that might slip into the crowd. A attaché case that might carry writing paper, a typewriter, or anything else might have some sort of a weapon. So we don't know what we might be up against. It can happen anywhere. He's backing law and order. He's pro-police, and he feels like putting some teeth into the laws that we need in this country.
You have stated you'd run over anybody who lay down in front of your car.
I never said that in my life.
You
never.
haven't.
No,
Why
sir.
is it quoted then?
Well, because that's typical of the distortions of everything that people in the South say by the press. I didn't say that. I said that when anarchists begin to lie in front of the President of the United States automobile to imperil his safety, that's a sad day, which means that you imperil the safety of everybody in the United States. Suppose you had a group of anarchists that lay in front of the Queen's vehicle and blocked her passage and threatened to overturn her automobile. That would mean that the safety of every person in Britain was imperiled. If you can threaten if the Prime Minister drives down the street and he cannot get any place because they're going to threaten to overturn his automobile, they're going to lie down in front of it, they're going to block him, they're going to trap him in his automobile. Well, that's what I was talking about. That's a sad day when we let a few anarchists in our country and any country do that to heads of state. And I just said that if any ever lay in front of my automobile when I was president, they would not want to lie down in front of any more automobiles. I didn't say I'd run over them. But there are some people who think you ought to run over them, but I don't say you ought to run over anybody. But a man who lay down in front of the Queen's automobile, or the Prime Minister's automobile, or the President ought to be treated in such fashion and drug away in such fashion that he would be weaned from lying down in front of automobiles. That's what I've said, and I still say it.
Madison Square Gardens, New York. A capacity crowd of 16,000 rises to the one-time boxing champion of Alabama. The campaign that started deep in America's segregationist South comes north, and a frustrated white working class finds its voice.
And both national parties in the last number of years have kowtowed to every anarchist that have roamed the streets. And I want to say this before I start on this any longer, that I'm not talking about race. The overwhelming majority of people of all races in this country are against this breakdown of law and order as much as those who assembled here tonight. It's a few anarchists, a few activists, a few militants, a few revolutionaries, and a few communists, but your day, of course, is going to be over soon. Let the police handle it. And I want to tell you something. After November 5th, you anarchists are through in this country, I tell you that.
Law and order has become a sort of a catchy phrase to appeal to all of the fears of those who are most biased and prejudiced. It nowhere gets to the heart of the problem. What are the causes of unrest in our country? Why do students demonstrate on the campuses and in the streets? Why is the black man so dissatisfied? These questions are not attended to. And as long as we avoid these questions, we're going to have to deal with this whole problem in a makeshift manner. I'm very fearful of what the term law and order pretends in our country. It sounds so much like the phrases that were used in other countries in periods that we can well remember.
Yeah, but it's decreased, huh?
Yeah, I'm feeling it here more.
You feel more on this side.
For Cook County Hospital, law and order means 80 gunshot and stab wounds every weekend. But violence is not an epidemic in America yet. Cicero and the other pools of white working-class prejudice don't speak for all America. And tomorrow, the governor from Alabama will not be president. America will not be Wallace country. But 20 million ordinary folk want him for president, and for Wallace, who's made extremism respectable, tomorrow is only a trial run for 1972. Whoever does get to the White House will now have to take his threat seriously and deal with the root causes of violence. Tomorrow is November the 5th. In America, the real fireworks come later.
How bad is that? Can we get him up first? Yeah, I think it. Come on, let's go. He's gone into shot. Yes. We're going to need a hand to get him up. Come on. We don't need too much. Come on. Now good.